What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. FantasyTeamAdvisors.com, bringing home the bacon. MLB DFS video. It is Saturday. It is April 27th. It is the last Saturday of the month of April, and we are back with another video. If you've never been here before, hopefully you're in for a treat. And what I mean by that is we do things a little bit differently here. We go through everything. We look at all of the games on the slate. We look at all of the pitchers. We dig into the bats in those games as well. So I had a suggestion in our previous video to, at the end of the video, instead of giving like the top 20 bats after 10,000 simulations, to kind of talk about some of the like stacks that we like for the slate. So I'm going to try that in this video. If you guys like it, let me know. This is what I say. If you want to see some things in some of these videos, let us know down below, and I will try to make some adjustments for you. So the website is FantasyTeamAdvisors.com. We have a ton of things going on. FTA Plus, you got a weekly pass, a monthly pass for $29.99, a yearly pass for $199, and a lifetime pass as well. You can check that out. In the link in the description is the link to today's article that coincides with what we're going to talk about. So we talk about everything, but if you want a little condensed version, click on the link and it'll have the pitchers we like and some of the bats we like at each position. We also have a link to our Discord where we go through everything. We go back and forth. We give prop bets out. We give core plays out, Fanduel, DraftKings, NBA, MLB right now. We've got it all. So this weekend, it'll include MLB, NBA, and NASCAR. So we got that going on. And yeah, so a lot of things to go over. And we have giveaways. Every single video, you have 2 chances to win. First way, like the video, be a subscriber, and leave a comment. That's one way. The other one is if you leave a comment who you think's going to score or who you think's going to hit a home run and what inning. You get that correct, screenshot and email me, dfshelp1@gmail.com, and we will get you set up for a free week of FTA Plus. Now, on top of that, if you've left your comment and you are a subscriber and this video gets at least 50 likes, someone will win a free week of FTA Plus. 100 likes is a free month of FTA Plus. 150 likes is a free $200 year, and if this video gets 200 or more likes, someone will win a lifetime pass worth $500. Now, you can come back and win every single day. All you got to do is leave a comment on the video, and you will be entered automatically when the next video goes live. So we are going to see who the winner of yesterday's video is from everyone who subscribed and left a comment. So let's take a look real quick. And the winner is Travis Duarte, 6405. Great work. Let's get some bacon. I'm pretty sure Travis has won recently. So, Travis, if you see this, like it. And then either down here, you can let me know your username on the website, or you can email me, dfshelp1@gmail.com, and let me know your username. Or if I'm mistaken, I just remember your comment, tell me the username and email you would like, and we will get you set up for your free pass. So come back tomorrow, the next day, the next day, the next day. You guys can win every single day. Let's have a fantastic Saturday, and let's break it down. So unlike the previous couple of Saturdays, we don't have like an early slate. The past few Saturdays, we've had a slate that locked it, like the majority of games locked at 12:05 Central. And then we had a couple of games trickle in the evening. But this one's actually a little bit different. You can kind of see. It's basically a 3:05. So we got this early game. We've got the Dodgers at the Blue Jays. That is just a single game. It's at 3:07 Eastern for whatever reason. So it's 2:07 Central. So it's an hour before the other games start. For whatever reason, I'm not sure why. So you've got one game on a Saturday early, and then the rest kind of trickle down. We've got a early slate, main, and late, and stuff like that. So in this game, we're not really going to break it down. I mean, both of these pitchers have been great. Glasnow kind of stumbled a little bit last game, but he's got a great matchup here, and he's had success against them. Kikuchi has been great this year, but he's got a 329 batting average against the Dodgers, and he's a lefty. But the Dodgers have not really been putting up runs. If I were to venture, if you're playing the showdown, you want to take both of the pitchers, and then you want to look at the bats. Dodgers bats, I mean, Mookie against a lefty. You're looking at Teoscar Hernandez. You could go with James Outman if he's in there. You could go with Andy Pages against the lefty. He'll be a cheap option there. Toronto bats, I mean, it's Vlad. You want to get cheap and you want to go contrarian. Ernie Clement would be one that I'd look at. And then you got Bo. You got him there. You got George Springer at the top. I mean, you kind of know who to take in these games. It'll depend on who you got for your captain or MVP. And then if you get the correct certain players, because you have to have at least one player from both teams. So building, I think the majority, the stacks of the majority will be Dodgers bats. If you make like 50 lineups and you want to go contrarian, you could look at a Toronto stack in hopes that Glasnow falters. But he's been good for the majority of this year, and he's got some good success against them. So then we jump into this early slate, or what they call on draft. Oh, no, this is early. There is a little weather concern here in Baltimore. It's definitely something to look at. And if you didn't see the news, Jackson Holliday was finally sent back down. He was batting, I think, .059 for whatever reason. So you got J.P. Sears, who's been pretty good this year, had a fantastic outing against the Yankees. In his career, 69 plate appearances, 286 batting average, 24.6 K percentage. Flip side of that, Cole Irvin. So it's the battle of the lefties. 25 plate appearances, 400 batting average. So really one start for Cole Irvin. You know, a few starts or the equivalent of a few starts for J.P. Sears against this Orioles team. So looking at this, again, if there's a weather concern, you're always going to be concerned about if there's an in-game delay, then your starting pitcher, if you start him, say it's early in the, let's say he gives 2 innings, then the rain delay comes for an hour, he's out. You're going to get screwed over there, especially on a 5-game early slate like this. You kind of see where we're going with this one. So we just look at J.P. Sears. He's 6,600, coming off a fantastic start against the Yankees. I saw the most strikeouts he's seen. I will say the strike zone was a little wide in this one. But yeah, so you kind of see what he brought to the table. They lost 2-0, but not a big deal. They won 2-0, but 25.1 is his second best start. His first best start was surprisingly against the Rangers. Went 6.1 innings there, 5 Ks. Depending on what Baltimore team comes out, we know Baltimore's a really good hitting team. He's had success against them in the past. So where do we go from there? That's the big question. So the bats that we want to look at, both sides, because somehow Oakland's kind of hitting a little bit against the Yankees this in the last one. But if you are looking at bats here, if you think Sears is going to be done, and you want to look at some of these Baltimore bats, Ryan O'Hearn, Jordan Westburg, Colton Cowser, like these names are going to be the ones that people aren't thinking of. They're going to be all over Adley Rutschman. They're going to be all over Gunnar Henderson, which are great. Jordan Westburg, I do like a little bit more. You see Baseball Savant, you see there's a ton of dark red, which is exactly what we need here. Heston Kjerstad, if you want to look at him a little bit, I think he'll be a cheap option. If you think Cole Irvin is not going to have it, if you think you want to go with some Oakland bats to be contrarian, especially in a small slate, and if this game plays and the weather is not a concern, we could look at some of them. Lawrence Butler, be a cheaper option. Brent Rooker against a lefty. Shea Langoliers, I could see. The ones I want to look at are Seth Brown, cheap option. Tyler Nevin would be another one. Esteury Ruiz would be that the one, if he gets on base, stolen bases, get you those fantasy points that way. Max Schumann, he would be a cheaper option as well. So on an early slate like this, I'm okay with, I think I would rather take J.P. Sears over Cole Irvin. But again, Oakland's they're not as bad as the Astros, which is wild, but they're bad. I'm scared about the rain, but I would look and kind of, in my mind, take the $200 savings, go with J.P. Sears against Baltimore, because I think a lot of people will be off of that one. Moving to the next one, Cardinals at the Mets. You got Sonny Gray versus Adrian Hauser. If you're new to baseball, Sonny Gray had he could not pitch well in New York City when he was with the Yankees. I have no idea what was going on with him, but I don't know if that's going to affect him here. I don't know if that was just the home crowd, if he was just not made for New York. I could see that. In his career, 104 plate appearances against the Mets, 264 batting average, but only a 15.4 K percentage. Flip side of that, Adrian Hauser, 101 plate appearances, 258. Citi Field, it is a massive ballpark for pitching. And let me show you one of the things. Hold on one second. So part of some of the tools, and I've had people ask, what does an FTA Plus membership get you? And if you go to the website, FTA, player projections, simulation models, Vegas odds, batter splits, BVP matchups, stolen base targets, a cheat sheet. I'm going to show you the cheat sheet from yesterday at the end of this video. But another tool that is a fantastic tool to use, if you haven't, go check out FantasyTeamAdvisors.com. But it's the MLB ballpark factors. Now, we can look at this. This is obviously yesterday's content. But, I mean, if you want to focus on once the weather comes out, the weather will be there, the home pitcher, the away pitcher, the ballpark, and how it ranks. So, talking about that, you can go back and forth looking at the pitchers. But we look at Citi Field. We look at what it's brought to the table. And thinking about that, we look at this 13 games played now. Run ratings, it's very low, minus 13.3. They rank 24th out of 30 in runs in this, and that's just through those games. So obviously a little bit skewed because they haven't seen it, but they rank dead last in slugging. They rank 26 out of 30 in home runs. I'm not saying home runs don't happen here. This is what I'm talking about. Ballpark factors are a big key here. That puts into play Sonny Gray. I might put into play Adrian Hauser because I think he'll be very underowned. But this ballpark is a pitcher's park. People might not be thinking about that. But we dig in. Sonny Gray is the most expensive pitcher on the slate at $10,200. He's only started 3 games, but he's averaging 26.7 in those 3 games. One of the games was at Oakland, which is a massive pitcher's park. The 2 were at home in St. Louis. He's had success. The pitch count has gone up gradually every single start about. It jumped 21 against Milwaukee, but he's gone 6 innings, gone deep into games. The Mets are just not that good this year. Surprise, surprise. Can they hit? Yes. This is another thing. It's a great pitcher's park. His mindset in New York, I don't know if it was just being on the Yankees. I don't know if it's the city. I don't know what it was. Looking at that, I will take that a little bit. But I will take Sonny Gray. I think tournaments, well, again, with 5 games, maybe 4 if the first one gets rained out. I'm still only playing tournaments on something like this. But Sonny Gray, I do not mind. Then you look at Adrian Hauser. Coming off minus 7.6. He had minus 4 against Atlanta, 13.8 against Pittsburgh, 11.7. I would not trust him. I would be looking at Cardinals bats, Lars Nootbaar. I would be looking at Burleson. That was a cheaper one. Depending on who else is there. Goldie and Arenado are very expensive. You could look at them, yes, but you've got Nootbaar, you've got Burleson, Contreras you could look at. Brendan Donovan would be another one. Maybe a little bit of Mason Wynn. And again, of course, Gorman, Arenado, and Goldie make sense. They're a little bit more expensive. I don't know if I want to pay up for that. So Sonny Gray is expensive, but he's got a fantastic matchup against the Mets team that he's had success in the past. Low on the strikeouts, though. But is a fantastic pitcher's park. So that is another tool you need to use, is look at ballpark factors, because those play a pivotal role just as much as the weather or BVP or anything like that. So be careful when you build around that. Next game is the Reds at the Rangers. You got Hunter Green versus Michael Lorenzen. Green, 9 plate appearances, so no real history. Same thing with Lorenzen, 5 plate appearances, no history either. Pitching against his former team. So Lorenzen obviously was with the Reds for however many years, then pitched in Philly, I believe. So he's been there. He's pitched. He had his no-hitter last year. Now he's coming back to Texas here to pitch against this Reds team. Obviously, a bump up would be if you kind of just look like a Great American Small Park or Great American Ballpark. Like we say, just with Citi Field, you see they're ranked 24th overall, because that's what they have. We can kind of see that it's in Texas now. So we look at that, and we're looking at Globe Life Field. These numbers will change when it gets hotter, because when it gets hotter there, the ball flies out of there with the humidity. Right now, ranked 18th for runs, They do give up a ton of home runs, though. It is ranked, or they're averaging, or I guess they don't. They're ranked 13th out of 30. They average about 2 home runs a game, so it's there. Slugging is there as well, ranked 15th. So, again, once the summer months heat up, the ball will fly out of there a lot, but right now, we might be good. But Hunter Green being 8,600 against this Texas team, basically what you're looking for is 2 to 2.5 times value. So 8,600 times 2 or 8,600 times 2.5, and he really hasn't hit that. He's averaging less than that fantasy points per game, has an elevated 4.55 ERA, does have 36 strikeouts though, but gave up 4 earned runs against Philly there, has not faced Texas this year. He's pitched once on the road, and that's it. I'm probably looking at Texas. Probably looking at Seager, Simeon, Evan Carter, Adolis Garcia. Those would be the ones that I'd look at here. Lorenzen, on the other hand, 7,900, has not faced this team. We look at this. He's had 2 great starts, though. So 18.5 and 21.9. 7,900, a 2.46 ERA, only 11 strikeouts. So the strikeouts, he had 7 in 1 against Atlanta, which was surprising. And then he had 4 against Detroit. So I'm probably not using either of these pitchers. To be completely honest with you, I'd rather look at the bats. If I'm looking here, it's Ellie De La Cruz, Spencer Steer. You could look at Jake Fraley if he's in there. Stuart Fairchild would be another one. So I'm probably avoiding the pitchers here. Cubs at the Red Sox, Josh Winkowski versus to be announced right now. It might be Ben Brown. That seems to be, he last pitched Saturday in relief. It's one where, pitched 1 inning there, 2 innings there, 6 when he started. So I wouldn't be using him. And I'm really not using Winkowski here. So if I didn't mention at the beginning, we do 20,000 simulations a day. We post 10,000 in the morning and then the last 10,000 a couple hours before lineup lock. I'm going to wait to see if those produce anything because I don't really like any of the bats in this one right now for at least Boston. Cubs bats, obviously, Pete Crow Armstrong, his first big league hit was a home run on, was it Thursday? I think it was Thursday, Wednesday or Thursday. You could look at him. Bellinger's out for an extended period of time, so that's a big bat out. Michael Busch is there. You could look at Ian Happ, Dansby Swanson. I don't mind them because this is Boston. The ball does fly out of there. It is a hitter-friendly park, so that is what I would look at. The Red Sox bats just don't do anything for me. If I'm focusing on anything, I'm probably just looking at the Cubs bats and neither Boston or Josh here unless the algorithm or the simulations show me anything. So we'll move to the next game. Nationals at the Marlins, another pandemic hit, and that is the Jesus Lizard's elbow may be done. He's on the IL, maybe Tommy John. It's wild what's going on. It does scare me. But yeah, so he is out. Edward Cabrera is in here. Mitchell Parker had a great start against the Dodgers. He's got a fantastic matchup here. You look at his price, he's 8,200. He had an okay start against LA, and then a fantastic start against Houston. Houston, I don't know. I think Houston's cooked. I think they're cooked. I don't know what's going on. Had 34 there, had 8 strikeouts, 7 innings there. If he could get, 6 to 7 innings here, could get 8 strikeouts again, I think he could be a fantastic start here. Only 2 starts, though, so we don't have a ton of information to go off of here, but that's kind of where I would be. The bats really, honestly, if we look at Edward Cabrera, he's 9,700. This could be a low-scoring game. Success against San Francisco, success against the Cubs. I would look at both of these guys. I would not be looking at bats in this situation here. And that's there for that's the early slate. That's the 5-game early slate. We do have a little bit of weather concern, so it might be a 4-game. So that's something to look at. So then we jump into a weird little 2-game, which sucks. I don't like this. 2-game thing. Now the Astros and the Rockies are in they're in Mexico playing, I believe. And we saw this last time, and this is I don't know how to explain, but this is a better ballpark for home runs than it is for like Colorado. It's higher elevation, So looking at that, in theory, I would like Ronel Blanco for tournaments. But again, this 2-game weird slate, I would rather stack the Astros here. I don't want any of the Colorado bats, and I don't want Cal Quantrill. Even though the Astros aren't that good this year, they still, in this kind of ballpark, I think anything can happen with the ball flying out of there. Then the second game, the Royals at the Tigers, Brady Singer versus Casey Mize. Singer, 267 batting average against him, 67 plate appearances. The Tigers we saw I think it was 0-0 in like the 8th or 9th inning yesterday. And then the Royals put up like 8 or 9 runs in the top of the 9th. I think that's something that could happen again. Casey Mize, 28 plate appearances, 370. I'd rather stack the Royals here, and I'd look at Brady Singer. So Pasquantino, Bobby Witt Jr., if he doesn't get a home run, he's probably stealing a couple bases. Velasquez, MJ Melendez. Salvador Perez is batting like 370 right now with like 7 or 8 home runs, knocking the cover off the ball. So I would definitely look at the Royals as a stack and a little bit of Brady Singer. But again, it's a 2-game little weird slate. I don't know if I like that, but we got to take what we can get. So that's the breakdown of the 2-game slate. I mean, it would be Singer and I guess Blanco as your 2 pitchers. I don't even know if anyone's going to play this, so that's the problem. Then we get into this main slate finally. And that is 7-game main slate. We jump into it. Rays at the White Sox there is a weather concern. So this system that's going to be in Chicago is the system that blew through on Friday. I mean, the wind was literally, the rain was going sideways is how windy it was. So that's what we saw there. That being said, I don't know if this game will get played. If it does, obviously love Aaron Savale. I know his number 66 plate appearance, 317, but I'm curious if it's like, 2 or 3 batters. And if you've been with us before, when we look at these, sometimes it's 1 or 2 batters that show like a 500 batting average, and that bumps it up. So yeah, 2 for 3 is 667, 385, 5 for 13. So Eloy's had success. Benintendi's 1 home run. Grossman's 1 home run. But the way the White Sox are looking, maybe I would love Aaron Savale. Maybe you want to, because if the weather isn't a concern, they've had mild success against him. If you look at Savale, though, he is 9,100 because if you've taken, and he didn't have a good start against the Yankees, 4.2 innings, 5 earned runs there. Does have a 3.9 ERA, 31 strikeouts. So he's getting strikeouts in those games. White Sox, if you want to, would be a weird, sneaky stack that I don't think very many people will be on. I will have some exposure to a White Sox stack a little bit. Like Eloy, if he stays healthy, he's doing pretty good. You could look at him. I mean, but then you dig into the numbers, it's like maybe a one-off. I think Savale is the play to go here. Maybe use Eloy in lineups that you are not playing Savale, if that makes sense. And I'm not using Jonathan Cannon. If you look at Jonathan Cannon, he's the lowest priced at 5,500. 0.3 against Minnesota, 3.2 innings, 6 earned runs. Kansas City, I mean, the strikeouts were low. Tampa Bay hasn't looked good. I mean, you could use him for a secondary pitcher at 5,500 because he is so low priced. Tampa Bay hasn't looked good as well. I mean, someone has to win this game. It's not going to end in a tie. But, I mean, he 7.27 ERA. Only 2 starts, though, so it is bumped up. If he could go 5 innings and get you, like, say, 5 strikeouts and no earned runs because Tampa Bay hasn't been that good, I mean, you will probably, most likely, unless you messed up the rest of your lineup, probably be able to cash pretty well here. So I'm okay with him for tournaments just because he is so low priced. I don't trust him enough, though, for cash. Yankees at the Brewers, you got Carlos Rodon versus Joe Ross. 40 plate appearances, 229 batting average, striking out 30% of those batters. Joe Ross, 35 plate appearances, 276. We look at these guys. So you've got Rodon here at 7,400, coming off a good start against Oakland, not so good against Toronto, great start against Miami, and blah in the first couple. But it comes in 2.03 ERA, 22 strikeouts, 131 WHIP. The walks are a little bit elevated. Milwaukee-wise, though, I don't mind him at all, especially since he's only 7,400. And then Joe Ross, he's the second lowest priced pitcher, 6,200, 4.05 ERA. Pittsburgh had 1 earned run in 5.1 innings, 4 Ks. Has had one start with 7 Ks, but I'd rather take the Yankees bats in this one. Hopefully they show up and show out, but Judge has been hitting the ball very hard. It's shown some home runs, but sometimes it's straight to someone. He's still hitting the ball. He's seeing it. That's a good sign. The only bats that I probably wouldn't be playing for the Yankees would be Glaber until he can prove more than one game that he's doing well. I would probably stay away from Glaber. Probably stay away from Austin Wells if he starts, but Trevino's been hitting well. Soto, Rizzo, Judge, Stanton, Volpe. Like, I think pretty much almost all, Oswaldo Cabrera, almost all of the Yankees bats are in play, minus Glaber and Wells. It just depends if those two are even in the lineup. Glaber probably is in the lineup, though. But yeah, I wouldn't look at Joe Ross, and I really wouldn't look at the Brewers bats. Move to the next one. Guardians at the Braves. Tanner Bibby versus Charlie Morton. Bibby's never faced the Braves before. Morton, 26 plate appearance of 167. So a small sample size. But we look at Bibby here. Second highest priced pitcher on the... Which is weird. It's kind of crazy. He's facing a really good offensive team who just got Ozzie Albies back. And Bibby is the second highest priced pitcher with a 4.44 ERA. So that's why it's a little weird. 2-0 record, 26 strikeouts. A great start against Oakland, but again, that's Oakland. Boston, an okay start. Not a good start against the White Sox, who are not a good team. A really good start against Minnesota, and then not a good start against Oakland. So just kind of looking at what we've seen, I'm not paying $9,400 for Bibby against Atlanta. I don't know why he is priced this high. That's weird to me. Yeah, that's weird to me. But anyway, question of the day. I think I forgot to put it out there. What are your thoughts? Did your team draft who you wanted for the NFL? And what are the Falcons doing? What are the Falcons doing with Penix? Like, Kirk Cousins, 4-year, $180 million, 100 of it guaranteed. Are they hoping he gets hurt and then Penix comes in? Or does Penix sit behind him for 4 years? Just makes no sense. I don't understand what's going on. I don't understand. Didn't even look like the owner knew that they were going to do that. Whatever. But yeah, the question of the day. So I'm very confused on this, but Charlie Morton, 4.70 ERA, it's kind of up there. Has not faced Cleveland this year. Good start against Texas. Okay against Miami. Not a good one against the Mets. Really good start against the White Sox because every single person has. Strikeouts have kind of been there, 22 strikeouts, but I could see Cleveland hitting. I wouldn't use Bibby because he's way too overpriced for me unless he throws a no-hitter or a gem. Braves bats are always in play. You know who they are. Even Albies is back now. But like Cleveland bats. Josh Naylor's one of the best hitting first basemen. I think he has the highest batting average of all qualified hitters since August of last year. And it's like 340 or something like that. Above Luis Ariz. He's number one. A great lefty on righty matchup there. Bo Naylor, Jose Ramirez. I wouldn't be surprised here. So I'm probably off of Charlie Morton. I am definitely off of Bibby. I would look at bats on both sides there. So the Braves bats, everyone's in play pretty much. Cleveland are the other bats we just talked about. Philly versus the Padres in a pitcher's park. You got Ranger Suarez versus Dylan Cease. Suarez, 41 plate appearances, 270 batting average. Cease, 55 plate appearances, a 245 batting average. Philly's been good. We know that Philly hits. We know Schwarber. We know Turner. We know Harper. But Dylan Cease has had success against them. 55 plate appearances, 245 batting average, striking out 21.8% of those batters. Walking 10.9, so it is up there. That's kind of my thought process. Dylan Cease is the most expensive, but it is wild to me that Dylan Cease is $300, only $300 more than Bibby, and Bibby faces the Braves. So we look at this. Dylan Cease in Colorado, which we took him. We don't usually like to take pitchers in Colorado, but if it's a stud, you kind of got to do it. 33, he has best game all season. His three best starts this year have been his last three starts. At Colorado, at Milwaukee, at home versus the Cubs. Now he gets a matchup against Philly. I think people will be on Philly bats. I will take some Dylan Cease. Bats-wise, Ranger Suarez coming in. Lefty here, Machado, Ha-Seong Kim, Fernando Tatis Jr., I would look a little bit at Jackson Merrill, even though it's not the plus matchup for him. Jake Cronenworth, you could look at there. Just depends on the lineup that comes out, but I'd rather take Cease and the Padres bats. Then we get to the Pirates at the Giants. You got Martin Perez versus Jordan Hicks. Jordan Hicks went from throwing 105 in the bullpen to Tommy John surgery to now being one of the best starting pitchers, and now he has a plus matchup here against the Pirates. This is a pitcher's park, so we look at this. Jordan Hicks, 7,700, 1.61 ERA, 2-0 record, 18 Ks. The Ks, so he did go 5 innings against Arizona and didn't strike anybody out. Not the best representation. Had 5 strikeouts against Miami, played Washington and San Diego twice, held his own against them. He is coming off his worst start against Arizona, but he has a fantastic start here against Pittsburgh, and we see him at 7,700, so he's just above Carlos Rodon. And I think he's got a fantastic matchup here. Batting-wise, in this game, depending on what you want to look at, like if for whatever reason you're going against Hicks and you wanted to take some Pirates bats, which I'm not going to, but O'Neal Cruz, Ke'Bryan Hayes, Andrew McCutchen's been on fire lately, Brian Reynolds, Jack Sawinski, those are ones I'd take, but I'm looking at Hicks. And on the flip side, Patrick Bailey's been one of the best young starting catchers. I love him against a lefty here, against Martin Perez. I would look at him. Matt Chapman hits lefties well. I would look at him. Lamont Wade Jr., Jorge Soler. I would be looking at these guys. Cheaper options would be Tyro Estrada. Tom Murphy, if he starts. I don't know if he will. Wilmer Flores would be one, but he's not hitting very well. But if you go from Lamont Wade up here, for anyone, I know a lot of people listen to this in the car on the ride to work or home or whatever you're doing. So you might not see what we're seeing on the screen, but there's a ton of red between Patrick Bailey, Chapman, Jung-Ho Lee, Michael Conforto, Lamont Wade Jr., and then I would throw in Jorge Soler as well against the lefty. So my focus in this game, I am looking at stacking against Perez, and I am looking at Jordan Hicks as one of my favorite pitchers on this slate. Then the last 2 games, we got Minnesota Twins at the Angels, Chris Paddack versus Jose Soriano. So we look at Paddack, 3 plate appearances. Neither of them have seen enough to qualify to even talk about. So you look at what they've done previously. 6,900 for Paddack, coming off his best start against the White Sox. We used him in this start. My suggestion, if you make multiple lineups, you're taking a pitcher against the White Sox every single day of the week. Here is no difference either. 36.2 fantasy points against the White Sox. Terrible start against Baltimore, minus 10.4. Dodgers, 11.7. Milwaukee, 4.2. So outside of the few Angels bats, Trout, Logan O'Hoppe, Taylor Ward, there's not a ton that really scare you. Paddack at 6,900, I'm okay with him there. The problem is he does come in with a 5.57 ERA. So I'm probably not taking Paddack. I would rather take those 3 Twins bats or Angels bats that we're talking about. And then Soriano. We've used him this year because his first couple of starts, he was in the 4,000 range. First 3 starts, he only went 3 to 4 innings. Against Cincinnati, 6 innings, gave up 3 runs, none of them earned, with 7 Ks. The strikeouts are there. Tournament-wise, I don't mind Soriano at 7,000. I'd rather take Soriano than Paddack just because of the successes. But Angels have to give him some run support to get him. If he can go 5 innings and he gets that run support, he could get that dub. I don't know if they can, but Paddack might be that pitcher that allows them to get those runs that they really do need. So again, 7,000 for Soriano. They're right next to each other. That's what I would look at. Then we get to the final game of the season or of the day. You got Arizona Diamondbacks at the Seattle Mariners. Slade Pepperoni. I don't really know how you say his name. If you're an Arizona fan, let me know. Has not faced Mariners. Only 2 plate appearances, so it doesn't really count. And then George Kirby, only 9 plate appearances against the Arizona Diamondbacks, but a 625 batting average. So I'm guessing that is 5 of 9, and I'm guessing it's 5 of 9, 1 home run, Randall Grichuk. Pretty sure Grichuk just got released. No, I'm thinking Kevin Pillar got released from the White Sox. I could be wrong. I think Kevin Pillar just got released. I mean, they really haven't seen each other. They haven't done anything. George Kirby's 8,200. Does have an elevated ERA for the year, 4.62. Only 26 strikeouts. Coming off back-to-back really good games with strikeouts 7 and 6. His best 2 games of the year. Now, I guess his best was opening day. I'm probably looking at bats in this one over pitching. I'm probably focused on Arizona bats, Corbin Carroll, Ketel Marte. Well, let's just take a look real quick. Maybe. Oh, why did it go to the bottom? Why does it do that? Ketel Marte, Jock Peterson would be a lefty bat I'd look at against him. Lourdes Gurriel Jr., Eugenio Suarez I would look at. Corbin Carroll, if he gets on, he could steal a couple bases as well. Gabriel Moreno is a cheap catching option today. Blaze Alexander would be a cheap infield option for you. Grichuk could be a little one as well if he's in there to play as well. So I am all in on an Arizona stack here. I don't really want any of the pitching in this game. And yeah, I mean, that's basically the breakdown. If you want to go through here, Cannon for tournaments because Tampa Bay's been bad, I'm okay with. I don't want anything to do with Ross, Pepperoni. I don't want anything to do with Paddock. I'll take a little bit of Soriano. I'm stacking against Martin Perez. I'm taking Carlos Rodon. I'm taking Hicks. I'm probably not paying for Morton or Kirby or Ranger Suarez. Take a little bit of Aaron Savali because he's got a matchup against the White Sox. I really don't want Bibby at that price, and I will take some Dylan Cease there. And that is it. That is the breakdown. That is the Saturday slate. That is all 3 of them. The early slate, the weird 2-game turbo slate, and then this main slate right here. What we've got going on. But now, I wanted to show you kind of what our cheat sheet is. So, again, we've got the ballpark rankings. We showed you that. Under the MLB tab, we've got player projections, simulation models, Vegas odds, batter splits. We've got all of this here. Some things people think about, some things they don't think about. So we look at that, and that's kind of where my head's at. But I wanted to show you, and people have asked in the Discord, what all do you get with the subscription? So this is just the cheat sheet. This is yesterday's. So as you can see right on the screen, we rank them 1 through 6 or 1 through 7, depending on how they are. We've got them there for pitchers. These are all in blue is cash, all in orange. These are GPPs. So in theory, we had 12 pitchers ranked that we liked. We had 12 catchers. We had 13 first, second, third, and shortstops. And then we had 24 outfielders ranked, or 26 outfielders ranked. Then we've got our stacks. So we look at the stacks. The team 2, so this is the pitcher to target against. The team's 2 stack. Some of the players our favorite players to stack in those games, and then some notes if we had any other notes. So that being said, we're not always right. I'll let you know if I'm wrong. I will come back and admit if I missed this, or this. But I wanted to bring that to you. So this is just the cheat sheet. We've got everything else there. If you want to get in on the Discord, the link is down below. And to end the video, I wanted to give you guys. We're not going to do the 20 bats because someone didn't want that. So just kind of the like our favorite stacks for the day. So depending if you can even play this, the Astros stack against Quantrill in this stadium in Mexico with the elevation, that's what I want. That'd be my number one. It's a weird slate, so if you're playing it, you're playing it. Or if you're playing sports betting, you could do your sports bets there. But Jordan, Kyle Tucker, Altuve, Bregman, Diaz, those would be the ones that I'd look at for Houston. Second one would be the Yankees against Joe Ross, Juan Soto, Aaron Judge, Anthony Rizzo, Anthony Volpe. That would be what I look at. Then I think it's a little bit different than what you're used to. But my third one would be Kansas City. I would look at Bobby Witt Jr. I would look at Sal Perez. I would look at Nelson Velasquez would be a cheap one. Depending on the lineup that comes out, either Michael Garcia or MJ Melendez would be kind of how I would get my stack there. So a little bit different. Things you might not be used to. Hopefully, if you're new to the channel, you are excited and you will subscribe and you will check us out every single day. For the most part, every single day. But yeah, so that's what I've got in this video. If you have any questions, get those down below. Good luck on this slate. And as always, let's bring home some bacon. Peace!